I'm Lee Spencer with the Racing Boys and with the BC39 winner, Zeb Wise. Man, what can you say? You're an Indiana guy, the first Indiana guy to win this race. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, it's it's an understatement when you come in here, and I've been fortunate enough to be at IMS multiple times, but I've raced a quarter midget here, and I've been fortunate enough to win the little battle at the Brickyard, and to come here in a dirt midget at a dirt track built by the guy that the idea of the guy that put me in a race car is just unbelievable. Can't thank Brian enough, and Doug Bowles and Scott Petrie and everyone that put this together. It's an unbelievable race, and I'm just fortunate enough to win it.
I talked to Tim, and he always makes a point of BC wanted to see you in a race car. He wanted to give you this opportunity, and to really live out the dream now, it's got to be rewarding.
Yeah, ironically, the first time Brian and Tim even noticed me was actually here in IMS over at racing the quarter midgets. So, from the first time they noticed me to now we're standing in victory lanes, absolutely amazing.
You hold off your veteran teammates. You hold off guys like Bell, like Larson, who are once-in-a-generational talents. What's going through your mind there in those closing laps when, everybody's pretty much in your rearview mirror? You just have to hold on to the thing.
Yeah, I had some lucky times where Larson would show his nose, and we'd get a caution. Those are the little lucky things you get. But obviously, when me and him got together, I didn't know what was going to happen to my car, and I didn't know what was going to happen to his. And actually, my front end was bent. It bent the steering arm, and I couldn't even hold it straight going down the straightaways, let alone in the corners. So, I was just doing whatever I could, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to slow down around the bottom. So I stayed keen on the top side, and I saw my teammate Chris Wyndham peeking on the bottom there, and I didn't want to go down there and screw my whole race up, so I just stayed where I was and committed, and it worked out.
Everybody was running the cushion, but it's like, how many times did you think you could pound off the turn 4 wall and just keep going like that?
Yeah, turns 3 and 4 were definitely a lot more tricky and treacherous than turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, had some character, had a hole in the 3, and then the cushion off of 4 was just absolutely, it was so extreme. You barely touch it with your right rear and it'd throw you into the fence. So you just had to be careful. I just was really patient with it and did what I could.
What do you think about what Doug Bowles has done to make this such a huge event? I mean, next to the Chili Bowl, this has got to be the biggest event for midgets in America right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just shows what Doug can do, and I think this is kind of an underrated thing that he does. Right when we roll out for the feature and we're all sitting around the top of the track, he goes around and shakes every single driver's hand that that has started the feature, and that alone is just unbelievable. You don't see that from many guys, and last night Michael Pickens and Kyle Larson and Justin Grant obviously put on a show, and they were here late working on the race cars, and Doug brought up the team's pizza and all that. It's just something you don't really get from a normal race, and it shows why it's such a big event. Obviously, being right before the Brickyard 400, there's nothing else like it.
We were sitting there in the Clausen Marshall hauler at Chili Bowl last year, and at that point, I don't think you're old enough to have a driver's license, let alone run a midget. But here you were. What is the next step for Zeb Wise, and do you think winning a marquee event like this will help propel your career?
One can only hope that this will help. I've had opportunity to run wing sprint car for teams like Boffman-Reitzel, who's a championship-winning team. And that's kind of the route I want to take is wing sprint cars. That's been my dream since I was at the age of 5. So. It's always a dream of Indiana kid, especially to run at the Indy 500, and that's one of mine too, to make that event. But obviously, that's a pretty big goal. But for a career thing, I'd just like to run the World of Outlaws full time.
I saw another Indiana kid come up to you, and he probably isn't a kid to you, but I've been following him since he's run USEC, and that was Ryan Newman. What does it mean to have his support?
Yeah, Ryan came on board with the Clausen Marshall Newman sprint car team back in 2018, I think is their first year, and they went on to win a championship, and Ryan's been around since, and it's very cool to have him at the track hanging out. Obviously we've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in one of the cars, so it's cool to see guys like that come back and support local dirt track racing, and it shows how much midget racing means to them.
Appreciate your time and congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.